Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Star Wars Stuff podcast pre-show for Andor Season 2, Episodes 1, 2, and 3. My name is David.
I'm Colin.
I'm Ted.
Craig 5 standing by.
There you go.
And this is where we're going to talk all things Andor. And, of course, this is the pre-show. I have seen the first episode of Andor. I got to see it in Japan at Star Wars Celebration at the Celebration stage. Very echoey, the audio there was. So a couple of things I didn't really pick up on, wasn't sure about. They seem to have mentioned some things that sounded familiar, but I wasn't quite sure what I heard. James, I think, actually saw it in the Galaxy stage or the Twin Sun stage. He heard it perfectly. He said he's not even going to watch the episode. I'm still going to watch the episode and make sure that I read the closed caption as well, because I know there's a lot of like stuff where they're referencing characters and stuff we saw in Rogue One. So I'm definitely going to check that out. You were on the
Celebration stage, right?
I saw it at the Celebration stage, yes, but there was a lot of echo. It was that setup that they have where it's like half an arena, and then the noise like travels everywhere. I sat up kind of in the mezzanine part of it, so it wasn't that great of audio. But the panel was very short too.
Yes,
it was great to see everyone there aside from Ben Mendelsohn, Stellan Skarsgård, but everyone else was there. It was very short because, of course, they showed us the first episode, and a lot of the media have seen every single episode of season 2, and they have reported on it that this is the best thing that Star Wars has ever done. So there's a lot of hype behind it. Does anyone have any thoughts they want to share initially about what they possibly might see tonight? Like I said, I've seen the first episode. I kind of know what happens in the first episode, but not episodes 2 and 3 that we're going to get tonight, which is super exciting because it's like we're getting a Star Wars movie tonight. So, Colin, what are your thoughts about Andor Season 2?
Season 2. I am excited. I love the fact that Tony Gilroy made this statement when they announced they were doing 3 episodes per week, which was, I feel sorry for podcasters, but it wasn't my call. It was Disney's. And I think that's funny and true at the same time, because no joke, these first 3 episodes is going to be almost like a length of a full movie. So it's going to be a lot for people who do, pretty much of what we do, where we break the episode down and then we, break down the Easter eggs. David James and I were already talking about the schedule. It sounds like we'll be doing like the full breakdown episodes and the post episodes on Thursdays for the next couple of weeks, just so we can give it time to breathe. And then that way we can absorb everything, break down everything, make sure we're getting information all down, because no joke, each episode is almost an hour long. It's nuts, which I'm not complaining. I don't think anyone is complaining about the time length, but if you
listen to us, Colin,
yes,
kinda,
if you are in the same type of realm of what we do, you understand like it's going to be a lot to break down, and you are going to have to pay attention a lot. You might have to watch the episode over and over again. So it's just like it's a lot worth it, but we want to make sure that we're doing our stuff right. So we'll be doing episodes on Thursday as well. Those will be our breakdown episodes. But yeah, I am excited. I'm very, very excited. Hopefully we get some, like, again, it's not that I'm banking on it, but I've got a feeling that we'll probably see some type of cameos from some of the rebels. Not the main ones, maybe 1 or 2, like Harrison Dula or something, but I'm betting that we're probably going to see some rebels at some point. If we just get a cameo from Chopper like we did in Rogue One, I'm fine with that too. But yeah, so yeah, I'm excited. I'm very, very excited to see where this goes.
Craig, what are your thoughts?
Colin was talking for so long that I forgot the question.
It's been a while.
What are your thoughts, Craig, on Andor and what you're going to see tonight?
Well, I thought season 1 started off a bit slow, but it really was incredible. So I feel like I definitely think it's going to top season 1. I think it's going to be some of the best Star Wars we'll see in years. I I'm not going to say I think it's going to be better than the original trilogy, but I do think it's going to be amazing. I have a feeling extremely well written. I think there's going to be tons of incredible moments and scenes. I'm really looking forward to it. If there's people out there that are not looking forward to this, then it's a little confusing what they'd be excited for with Star Wars. I mean, this is just masterfully done in the first season.
Yeah.
Totally
So
agree.
I'm really
Ted?
excited. Colin talked about how excited he is, so maybe I should compare my excitement to Colin's excitement.
Yeah,
I take
who's more
Colin's
excited
excitement, which
here?
is here. And I'm more
I'm
excited than Colin.
No, I am. See, look, I'm even wearing a Rogue One shirt. All right, that's how pumped I am. Are you wearing a Rogue One shirt? I don't think so, Craig.
No, but I have an ad on it.
Doesn't matter. It has no involvement. I'm just kidding.
There was
like
ACTs in Rogue One.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
He forgot
That is
about that
clearly
because he's
from
not as
Empire
excited
Strikes
about
Back
it as
scene.
I am.
Well, that AT-AT is clearly from scene 43 in Empire Strikes Back. And that, no, I'm just kidding. No, I just pulled that out of my... Well, yeah. All right, Ted, how about you?
I am not as excited as you guys, clearly, but I'm excited. Yeah. The first episode tonight, unless it's wrong on my notes, is called 1 Year Later. So I feel like this first episode's just going to get us caught up. A little bit of a stepping stone into the rest of season 2. And I think the way that it's formatted, Tony Gilroy set himself up to basically do whatever he wants. You're not you're not having to abide by the laws of like a timeline or anything like that. You're free to just have like a major action sequence in every episode if you wanted to, because of how spread out these episodes are covering time wise. I'm hoping for like a no holds barred espionage action full feature film every single week, if you ask me. I'm excited. The ratings have been high. I think this first episode's already rated at a 9 on IMDb. So hopefully those are accurate. And I'm just excited that we're getting to see this. I feel like all of season 1 was just a setup for season 2. That remains to be seen. Season 1 is good. It's well written. I love the performances by everyone across the board. But I feel like the entire time you're just waiting to get through season 1 because season 2 is the main course. It is the feature. It is everything. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully they don't hold back and they just blow us all away.
I have a question for you guys. Do you guys think that we'll see Vader at all?
I don't know anything. And I didn't see anything special that showed us Vader at Celebration in Japan. But it's like we kind of, I mean, it would be weird that if we did not see him. And I will say this without spoiling anything, but I think I did hear them mention one of those types of characters in episode 1. So there's a mention of it. But yeah, like I said, I saw the first episode on a big screen at the Celebration stage, and it feels like you could see the budget on the screen. There's going to be this big action sequence you see where it looks like cinema quality.
So I did read a article where they actually they are considering I guess potentially of having some of the episodes actually go to the big screen in the theater.
So you think
I think Craig froze there.
Yeah, I was like, what just happened there?
I think we're gonna see Vader. I think Diego has not been coy about the amount of cameos we should expect in this second season. So I feel like it doesn't have to be a full-on Vader sequence. We're just talking about like a hologram of Vader speaking to somebody on a ship. I think you will have to do that at least.
Right. So my thing with cameos is that they can't just show up to show up. it needs to make sense. There needs to be a reason why these characters are showing up. Vader at the end of Rogue One, yes, he, that was a big thing that everyone talked about, but he was there for a reason. He was there to, try and get the Death Star plans. That was his main mission, and then that carries into Episode 4. So it made sense that he was going to be in that movie. If he shows up in this, it needs to make sense. Honestly, I think we'll see the Emperor probably like over Darth Vader, because the Emperor is going to be more involved in like just because you have the ISB and you have Krennic, right? And Vader, I don't think his main thing was the Death Star. I think the Emperor was the one that was more like, kind of pushing it, and Darth Vader was just there. Like at this point, he is the Emperor's attack dog. Like he's just, he is, his right-hand man. He is the main, guy. The only reason why I could see him showing up is if it's kind of like what we see in Star Wars Rebels, of where they're not doing their jobs and then Darth Vader has to come in. It is like, your boss is coming in to like make sure that you're doing your job. That's basically what Darth Vader did in Star Wars Rebels in season 2. So if Darth Vader does show up, it's going to be that type of situation. Right now, Darth Vader's only showing up if there's some type of Jedi involvement. I think the Emperor, let's see, some guy named James Herrera says, no, Emperor, leave them as phantoms in the shadows.
It's clearly a made-up name, James Herrera.
Well,
cliche.
I think we'll see him in the Senate, because Mon Mothma apparently gave the speech that we hear in Rebels to like the Emperor himself, like in the actual like Senate. So I think we're gonna see the Emperor. I think Ian McDermott will come back as the Emperor, which is, no shock at all, because he loves that character and I love every time that he plays him. But honestly, I think we'll see the Emperor over Darth Vader. If we do see Darth Vader, great. But most likely he's going to pop up if there's some type of Force wheeler or something, because that's like his main thing. Like,
what do the people in the chat think? I want to hear what our listeners think. Like, make your prediction, guy. Do you think you're going to see Vader or the Emperor? I'd be happy with either of them, honestly.
Yeah. It just has to make sense. That's my only thing. I don't want a camera to be like, "Hey, what's up? What's going on?" And then they just, they just leave. And it's like
spot on Vader voice acting there, Colin.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Darth Beard on YouTube says penultimate scene needs to be the Emperor dissolving the Senate, then show Cassian arriving to his first scene in Rogue One. I think that's pretty much spot on. I think that's what we're gonna get. But I totally disagree with this guy, James Herrera. No Emperor, leave them as phantoms in the shadows. I want to see everyone. I want to see everyone. I don't care about like that whole like aspect of we need to save them and it's going to degrade what we saw in Rogue One and all that.
No,
I don't care.
Anything
about
that's done in this series is going to be masterful. So I don't think we have to worry about
right.
Tony messing that up.
It has the Andor season 2 has the highest ever Rotten Tomato score for anything Star Wars. Like Ted said, it's got another high score with what exactly did you say?
The first episode's rated as a 9.
Okay, on IGN, yes.
Wow.
And IGN has been pretty tough lately.
Well, you're right. It was IGN, but I was referencing IMDb. So
IMDb,
you got 2 9s, which IMDb is a bigger poll. But yeah,
they are ranking the show higher than The Mandalorian. Which that first season of The Mandalorian was damn good too. So it's just like, that's saying a lot. And
I thought the second one was better, to be honest, but
I think the reason why a lot of people like that first season of The Mandalorian, because it was Star Wars, but it wasn't, in your face with like the Force or Luke Skywalker or anything like that. And then you get to season 2, and then Adam, come on, bro.
Well, I gotta say, it's been 17 minutes into this episode, and Colin hasn't mentioned Max Rebo yet. So
you are ruining it, man. It's supposed to be a gift to the people. It's supposed to be a surprise. You don't know when I'm gonna say it, even though he's right behind me. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So yeah, and then the other thing about the Emperor too is that he actually was involved in the last season of Star Wars Rebels a lot. Andor will be crossing over with the time of with the actual like events with Star Wars Rebels. So at some point we're probably gonna see some rebels like rebel characters, but it would make sense if the Emperor was involved just because of the kind of aspect of the ISB is ran by the Emperor. He is in direct contact with those people. So it makes sense that the Emperor would make some type of cameo. We already got there's this character, her name is Sly Moore. She was mentioned in season 1.
Yeah,
and she
at the
is
party.
also like right next to the Emperor. Like no joke. I think this is all leading to an Emperor cameo. It just makes sense to me. But yeah.
I mean, I hope we do. Honestly, when we're so tied to that, those characters, it seems like they should make some kind of appearance, some kind of presence in this whole situation,
Yeah.
And we saw in the trailer that they do mention Palpatine.
Yes.
They do say his name at one point. They said something like "Save it for Palpatine" or something.
Yes. Yep.
So.
And Rebels characters from the animated series would make even more sense to have shown up somewhere in Andor as opposed to Vader or the Emperor, right? Because they are part of this network resistance. So
they also
I hope they
are
do,
on Yavin.
I feel like because it's kind of like Filoni's characters and his beloved characters, like is he working with, are they working on that together, Tony and Filoni, to get Tony Filoni and the Tony Filoni connection? I want to see a Tony Filoni. I want that.
Yeah. I don't think that will get episodes where Hera Syndulla is, in the cockpit of the Ghost and flying it. And we're like, oh my gosh, I don't think that's going to happen. I think we'll see them in brief passing, talking and stuff like that. There might be a speaking role. There's one character that I really, 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 really want to see in live action, and that is Callus. In the beginning of Rebels, Agent Callus was the antagonist to the Rebels, and then he later, joins them. And I want to see that character. And the actor that has been fan cast for a very long time for that character in live action is Kurt Russell's son, Wyatt.
Wyatt Russell.
Yes. That is like great casting. I would love
to see
that. Yeah. I would love to see that character in live action just because it makes sense to have him on base on Yavin, because that is where he was for the remainder, around this time period. So I want to see Callus. I think that would be awesome to actually see him live action.
That'd be a cool one. I don't know though. I mean, I just feel like it's going to be so focused on the characters from season 1 that do they have room to incorporate all these other characters? I think it'd be great if they did, because I love all those other characters. I hope they do, but I hadn't really considered it before tonight, honestly.
Yeah, the reason why I kind of disagree with James Herrera out there saying that he just wants them to be in the shadows and be phantoms is because this is Tony Gilroy. He's not going to create something using characters that we all know and love that isn't earned, that isn't right story-wise. He left K2SO out of season 1 because he felt like it wasn't right for the story he was trying to tell. And I think the info is kind of out there. Have you been watching all of the interviews and reading all the stories that have been written? But they do tell you what episode K2SO shows up in. I don't know if we want to say it here, but
we want to keep it spoiler free, I think, right?
Right. But it's a good thing that they're giving us 3 episodes a night, because it feels like it's going to be a little bit of a wait until we see him. But I think when we do see him, we're going to get him a lot. And and it feels like there was no expense spared for this show. It's
Now,
the
you
swan
say
song.
that, but didn't they say? I think this might be a tiny bit of a spoiler, but I think most people know by now that Bale Antilles is not going to be played by Jimmy Smits.
I read that today. There's a story out there. I don't know if it's true or not, but and it's interesting the actor that they pulled in, because I mean you think of him as a younger version of Jimmy Smits. Benjamin Bratt basically is. I saw a story about him playing a younger Bell Organa. I think that's who you're referring to, right? Not Antilles. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Bell
Yes,
Organa.
Organa. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's a little bit of change, but it's cool that he's in Star Wars now. I mean he's a pretty great actor, and
I just don't like that they recast Jimmy. but
Was it-
but they
Is
said
it for a good reason though?
here's the reason that I was, and this is why I brought it up, because I thought I heard it had something to do with budget, and that that it was
Wow.
partially due to budget and then partially due to the actor being busy. But I kind of got the sense like it might be budget related, and I was a little surprised. I'm like, how much could he cost to be in a couple episodes?
Jimmy Smits, I believe, is fighting Parkinson's.
Oh man,
Really? That I did not know that.
I did not know that either.
I heard he was
According
filming
to
something
Google.
else. I saw some comments that he was filming a different show, and I don't know the name of the other show though.
Google's been wrong a lot lately for me.
Really?
Doing research for Japan, yeah. Google's been really wrong about certain things, so I don't know. We got to definitely confirm that.
I'll corroborate with like 2 or 3 more sources. Hang on here.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, speaking of Japan, today's my first official day back in South Texas. I was in Japan for 5 days. James was there for like 11 days or something crazy like that.
Nice.
But yeah, I want to give a big shout out to Mariana Arnold here. She's in the chat. She helped us out so much with our preparation and hints and tips. And one of the bigger tips that really helped me out with the whole kind of immigration process into Japan was going on to Google. It's kind of funny we just mentioned Google, but Visit Japan. You fill out the immigration form there. Once you're done, it's like 15 screens. You get a QR code. So at the airport, I was able to arrive, show immigration my QR code, and they just let me through while everyone had to like fill out all these papers and stuff. So that was very, very helpful. But yeah, she helped us. She helped James and Haley out with a bunch of tips with Disney, I believe, and like food places to go to. And I didn't do much of that. I just basically went for celebration. But yeah, we finally got to meet. It was awesome meeting her on the last day. I almost didn't meet her. And she's
still listening to the show after meeting everyone.
Yeah, she's still listening. Well, she just met me and James, but yeah, she's really cool. She's really cool. I'm glad she's a part of Patreon and listens to us, because yeah, she's a really cool person. So yeah, leaving. I know I'm jumping all the way to the end of celebration, but yeah, leaving. I got to the airport early, and it was about time for boarding, and I was in zone 2. There was a zone 1 for boarding, and I just happened to turn my head to the left, and I see Hayden Christensen walk up.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and some guy approached him and just started talking to him, and they took a picture together, and then he just started talking to everyone that was around him, and I was like, okay, well, looks like he's in a friendly fan mood there. So I was like, okay, it's I got to go up there and ask for a selfie. So I did that.
And so tonight we have a special announcement. Hayden Christensen is joining the podcast.
So yeah, I took the picture there with Hayden. It was real cool. He was there with his family, so I didn't want to like bug him any more than just taking the selfie. And of course, I mean, he had a long, I don't know, week or whatever in Japan. And unfortunately, I think he had to cancel a lot of his autographs and photo ops because I think the scheduling wasn't correct, and he had to like do interviews with Good Morning America and
Yeah.
Collider and everyone else up there.
Man, there were a lot of people complaining in the Facebook group. I saw, because I'm in like the Celebration Japan group. I don't know if you saw
Yeah.
it, Colin, but there were so many
Yeah.
people upset that they got canceled. They were told come back if they went on day one. They were like, come back tomorrow, and then that never happened.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there were a lot of issues with the way this was run. David, you would know, you were in the store for 15 hours.
Yeah. I remember back, so thinking about Chicago Celebration, I remember Joseph and James got in the line and they had a really great experience. They talked to a lot of people in line. They were in line, I think, for a lot of hours. I thought it was 8. I think James told me at one point it was 8. Then he changed it to 4, and the times always have changed. But I was in line for around 5-6 hours, just waiting to buy something from the Celebration store. When I finally got in, so I mean, if you really think about that, okay, so if you go see a movie at the movie theater, it's like 2 hours, 3 at the longest. I mean, when do you go to the restroom? You know, a lot of people were just in line and never went to the restroom. Towards the end, I was like, man, I need to go to the restroom. And I told one of the non-Japanese people that were working there, so I could speak English and we could basically really kind of communicate. I was like, hey, is it okay if I go to the restroom and can I get my spot back in line? He said, yeah, sure. So he kind of escorted me out. I go to the restroom. I come back and there was maybe about 3 more sections of people that they were going to let in before my group was going to be let in. And I said, hey, you going to stick me back in line? He was like, no, you can go in. So he let me in a little early. But I mean, I stood for a long time. When I got in there, a lot of shelves were bare. People started forming line. This is what I do not get. People inside of there started forming more lines for things.
Yep.
And it's like, why are you doing that? You just spent like nearly an entire day in line. It's like, why are you like self-created?
They were
self-created
traumatized by the
lines.
line.
Like
So-
nobody was telling them to do this.
Right. So, I mean, so honestly, that's like a universal thing because when I worked at Disney, over at Galaxy's Edge, when Rise of the Resistance would go down, this was a common thing. This is not like, you know, like a secret or anything, but people would, no joke, as soon as like they would announce that the ride is down, people would form their own line without like telling anyone, and then that line would be going, you know, all the way out to where the Muppet 3D show was. Like that's how long the line was going, and then some of us would have to go down and be like, "Hey, this actually isn't the line. You guys are just chilling. There is no line for Rise of the Resistance." And I felt bad, but it was just like, you know, I understand that people are passionate about this stuff. I get it, but also you have to respect of what the actual authority is and of what's going on. So that is like a universal thing. So that's kind of funny that was happening, but at the same time not, because they ended up not going anywhere. And I guarantee you a worker walked up and had to break the news, be like, you guys are waiting in line for nothing. This line is going nowhere.
Yeah, I saw the line and I was like, what's this line for? It can't be for t-shirts. Yeah. So I went just straight to the t-shirt guy. I was like, hey, you got anything in like any of these sizes I'm looking for? They're like, all we have is extra smalls. And it's like, okay, well, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't have like kids that size. Yeah. Colin, luckily I got his shopping done via third party, so he was taking care of. But Colin didn't ask for much, so it wasn't that hard.
Yeah. Max Rebo merch, that's it.
There was one Max Rebo shirt.
You want me to put it on screen, Colin?
Yes, please.
Okay, let me grab it.
Yeah,
I can stand over here.
While you're doing that, I haven't confirmed the Jimmy Smith's health issues, so let's go ahead and retract that. And unless I see more sources. Yeah. Somebody claimed that it was a scheduling conflict, but Jimmy Smith, the only thing that he's doing is the new Dexter series, which drops in a couple of months. And that production only started in like February, so that can't be it either. So I don't really know what the issue is.
Nice shirt, yes. Is there anything on the back, David? Or no?
It just says Japan.
Oh, very nice.
Cool. And then David also got me the there's like this Japanese art of Anakin versus Obi-Wan, like in Japanese art, and it's so cool. And then there's also the Chewbacca lanyard as well. Yeah. Look how awesome that is. Oh my god, that's a beautiful shirt. Love that. But yeah. So going back to what Ted was saying. Okay, yeah. That makes sense. But
Yeah, for some reason Google's like a little haywire because it was telling me I would ask it what time is it in Texas so I can call my wife to make sure she was actually not working, not asleep, and it gave me the wrong time. So yeah, that was kind of messed up. But yeah, Celebration. I was asked the question, how does this rank in all the celebrations you've been to? I've been to 6 now. I think this was the least best. I guess technically the worst. But I've had some spectacular celebrations in the past, so it was always going to be hard to live up to all my experiences in 2015, 17, 2019. But I did have some really, really great moments. Which another kind of thing that was kind of weird was the fact that the Hot Toys, I wouldn't say it was a booth. It was like almost as big as a Celebration store, guys, on the floor.
wow.
They had Hot Toys everywhere. And my dream always was to go to Celebration and buy one Hot Toy. And they had like a huge store. All these shelves. I mean, there were only 4 Hot Toys available, like official, like actual, like legit Hot Toys. It was the Cherry Blossom Stormtrooper. It was the Hayden figure that was exclusive. It was the Galen Erso and the Vader. The Cherry Blossom Stormtrooper sold out almost immediately. Everyone wanted that. I didn't really. And the Anakin sold out before I could make it to the store. And I made it to the store on day 2. So, yeah, I got what I wanted. I bought the Galen Erso and the Vader with the reflective lightsaber duel.
Seeing Craig's reaction.
And I was hoping that the boxes were going to fit in my suitcase because I only took one suitcase. I half filled it. It worked. The boxes were not as big as the traditional boxes I've seen in the past.
Yeah.
But the other tragic thing that happened is I have a bank, and my bank
Ted, I mean not Ted. David owns a bank. David actually owns a bank, guys. It's crazy.
My bank marked my card for fraud in Japan. And I told them I was traveling to Japan. And they said, "Don't worry, sir. Your cards will work in Japan. You don't have to give us a travel notice." And for some reason, my cards wouldn't work. So I had a huge debacle, and luckily I had some backup cards and I had to use that. But I was doing so good in Japan, only spending the money that I had on a particular account. And then I had to like go into my emergency like family account to buy the Hot Toys, and I had to buy like one at a time. And I had to explain all that to my wife, which is fun. Yeah. So yeah, that was strange.
So for Star Wars Celebration 2027, Ted, you've never gone to Star Wars Celebration, right?
I have not.
Okay. Is 2027 going to be the first one you go to?
It will be.
Okay, sick. Okay. I just want to confirm that now because we need to start planning. Like Star Wars Celebration is something that you need to plan something far in advance. Like you need to know the city. You need to know where you're going. You like need to know all this stuff ahead of time. Doesn't matter how far in advance, do it. Because this one is going to be the biggest one because this is the one that marks 50 years of Star Wars. That is a huge deal. And the fact that it's happening at LA and not Anaheim is also a big deal as well, because that is going to be like kind of right in the center of Hollywood in that area. And I think, David, you said that might have to do with the upcoming Olympics, right?
Mariana Tia Arnold, she was the first one that pointed out that this might be a dry run for all the new infrastructure that they have that's going to have to support the 2028 Olympics.
Yep.
So yeah, we're all assuming it's going to be LA Convention Center. I've seen stories out there that they've remodeled it a little bit. They've fixed some of the roads. They've added roads. So this will be essentially a test, a bit for the Olympics.
Yeah.
And they've had it in LA once before, I believe.
Okay.
And I don't know anyone that's gone to that because it happened in the early 2000s before I started going to all these celebrations. But
the George
luckily,
Lucas Museum will be open as well, right?
Yes, that big like shoe, like Air Jordan shoe looking museum should be open. But it's a cinema museum, I believe. It's not a Star Wars museum or anything. I think there's like a section of Star Wars, but it was I think fully funded by George Lucas. And originally he wanted it in Chicago, but they denied him, so he moved it to LA, which makes more sense to me. But
yeah,
LA is happening.
Yeah.
It was announced 2027 50th anniversary celebration. A lot of people are going to be there. Probably everyone that you see on the screen and listening right now will be there.
Yes.
My brother wants to go. So he might be there. It's going to be jam-packed. It's going to be 4 days, and that's usually the average amount of time celebration happens. Japan was 3.
Sure.
So this should be. This should feel a lot like more of a traditional celebration, because even though Japan, I think they recorded the most people at the Japan celebration than any other celebration. It still felt like a lighter celebration as far as like vendors go. But I do have to say that the space between vendors was really nice. There's a lot more space to walk, even though still there's a lot of people. It felt less cramped. I think, Craig, you might be on mute.
Sorry. I was saying that it makes sense, because how many people are going to bring merchandise to the other side of the world? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was watching the celebration live show all weekend. I think Ted was too. And we were like, they were crushing it with all of the coverage on there. Even though I didn't go, I kind of felt like I was there in a way, because they actually showed a lot of the footage of the panels, which they didn't do that at the last celebration. So
yeah, they didn't.
I was shocked by that. And then not only that,
London, it was like we were all in the dark.
Yeah. So those who were actually able to go, like, I think we were very, very, very lucky. James is right. There was not any exclusive Legos over there.
There was. What's crazy is I saw the big Lego inflatable above, but I never saw the Lego booth. I never saw it. I think I saw the outside of it because they had a big Lego speeder for like a Scout Trooper speeder, and everyone could ride it and get on it. But I never looked inside.
What was the exclusive?
Of course, there were so many people. It was like a big black. It was almost like the Blue Harvest wooden plaque we have, Colin.
Yeah,
it looked like that, but it was an exclusive there, and all these lines are insanely long.
Okay.
I don't even think James went to the Lego booth at all.
Yeah. So the other thing too, about this, which I was shocked, which, David, I would like to hear from your perspective, but how is the security over there? Because no joke, all the footage got leaked within seriously, I was shocked. Like, all of the footage got leaked from all of the panels, every single one of them. I've never seen that at all.
Yep.
I don't know if it's because like the security was not on top of it. Like, of the feed that me and Ted were watching of that first day of the Mandalorian Grogu panel, we watched the entire panel leading up to the actual footage. That's insane to me. Yeah. I was completely blown away. Some the person's name, which shout out to him for the lore. he was just holding his phone the entire time. No one stopped him. I
Right,
think he
right.
turned off his phone when they actually like started to show the footage, but we watched the entire panel live and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Okay.
And yeah, and then we saw like the other panels and they actually did like the live feed stuff there. So we were able to watch all that. But I was blown away. But the actual trailers and stuff for like Maul Shadow Lord, the teaser trailer for the Mandalorian Grogu, and for and the concept trailer for Ahsoka season 2, all of that got leaked online. So that's absolutely insane to me. But David, you were in the celebration like stage room a couple of times. What was the security like?
Is that where you got the footage from, the celebration arena?
From yeah, every single one was
Okay.
from the from the celebration stage, because I know you were
Okay,
there for
so
Andor and then you went to the other one.
yeah, I was in there for Andor. I didn't notice any of the I guess what do you want to call them? Security people.
Yeah.
In my area,
Wow.
they were down below me and they were just like staring at me the whole time.
That's weird.
But in the Mando Grogu, I was in the Galaxy stage and I started recording too, but I was all the way at the edge and they had Japanese security and they approached me and they said, please turn it off in Japanese. They didn't speak English to me, but I could tell what they were saying. But it was a perimeter of security. The people that were in the interior, I don't think anyone had any security go up in their face and say, hey, cut it out. So I think the people in the middle just probably had their phones like this and just recorded the whole thing. Because I saw a guy like this during Visions, but I was just out there recording.
Yeah.
And there was zero security for Visions. But
they're like, please show this to someone.
The other weird thing, which I hope Lucasfilm and Star Wars isn't listening to this, or I don't know, maybe they should.
I would be careful. I would be very careful what you say. Please don't get us in trouble.
So yeah, so the whole reservation thing, you had to win reservations for the bigger panels.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't win a reservation now for Mando Grogu, because I would have just gone to the celebration stage and see them in person, because when I got to the Galaxy stage, they didn't even look at my reservation and they were just letting anyone in.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, this is weird. But their Galaxy stage was ginormous. It was the biggest Galaxy stage I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, thousands of people could fit in there. So it's like, well, why did you even have a reservation thing at all? I mean, so many people could have gotten in there, and there were empty seats still in that thing.
They do not do a good job with that. Like, I have to say, at MegaCon, when I was at like Skeleton Crew, they had every seat and they made sure everybody moved in and there were no empty seats. So that was phenomenal. I was like, this is exactly what needs to be done at MegaCon. Move everybody in, no empty seats.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of glad that we're not going to have Celebration over in Orlando. As cool as that would have been, I'm kind of glad we're not, because I remember being in the room for the 40th anniversary panel. And as cool as it wasn't that big in my opinion. And it was just a giant room. It was just a giant room, flat landed. There was no like balconies or anything. And I think if you weren't in a good spot for certain aspects, for example, when like John Williams showed up, people were going on each other's shoulders. People were standing on chairs, holding their phones, and like, you know, you like kind of had to turn towards the screen. And I get what people were trying to do, but it's just like,
there are two sides to that convention center. There's the east side and there's the west side. And so on the opposite side, there might be rooms that are just as large, if not larger, that do accommodate better. I'm not sure.
Well, in regards to that, which this is a crazy factoid I'm about to throw out, but if you go and look at the largest convention centers in the United States, what do you think the LA Convention Center is ranked out of the largest in the States?
7th.
4th.
2, 1, 4. 8,
12.
9,
10?
It's gonna
10,
blow your mind.
20.
15th. 99th.
What?
Craig is close.
What?
You're kidding.
It's the
Oh,
40th
no.
largest convention center in the United
That's not
States.
good. I don't want to hear that. I don't
Well,
want to be in a small room with other
What are the
people.
top 5?
Chicago, Orlando.
Man, I'll do it though.
So I don't know what
Chicago,
this is gonna
Orlando.
be
What were
like.
the other ones?
San Antonio's convention center is 7th, I think. They should have had it in San Antonio, obviously.
So
Okay,
Orlando's number 2.
What's
has
that?
anyone
Orlando was second.
Has anyone seen the Los Angeles Convention Center concept art? Because I think Dave talked about some big expansion they were doing. The concept art for the expansion, if that's what it is, looks immaculate. I'm guessing it's either in progress
Okay.
or should be done by 2027, but it looks incredible.
That's great. I really hope it is. Because of even in Anaheim, Craig, do you remember were you there for the Mandalorian season 3 panel or no?
I
thought
can't
you were.
remember if I got in that panel.
Okay, so we were in the standby line. We ended up getting in, and they definitely broke a lot of like fire code. Like
I think we couldn't get into that one. I think we were trying to get in, but we couldn't
Yeah.
make it in, even though we got there super early in the morning. And then there was a
Yeah.
whole nother line that somehow was in front of us, even though
Mhm.
we were there like first thing in the morning.
Yeah. Well, so for that panel, they let like Brooke and I were like in the front of that line for a standby, and they told us, "Hey, you guys need to walk. You guys will be leading everyone. Tell everyone to walk." And at one point, someone ran, and then I grabbed my wife's hand, and we just booked it because I heard one guy said, "Run!" And I was like, "Honey, we gotta go." And like we like ran in there, ran up the stairs, found a spot. People were like sitting in the stairwell. Like that's how tight it was. And as fun as that was, I really hope that we don't end up doing that for for LA.
David just
I-
said that his house lost power. They did not pay the power bill because he spent all his money in Japan. And he wanted me to let
Exactly what
everybody
happened.
know to please
Okay.
sign up for the Patreon. So that will go towards paying his house power bill.
Yeah.
And that will enable us to keep the show lights
Yep.
on.
Yep.
Y'all want to hear
Yes,
something
please.
funny?
Sure.
Yes, Ted.
Okay, so again, this whole Jimmy Smith thing really bothered me for some reason. So I'm looking at the source of where this came from. There's only one source, by the way, some guy on X, and he actually quotes the article that he got the information from. The article is written by a friend of ours, an acquaintance who me and David actually met in San Diego, another journalist named Rachel. And the quote comes from her article, is what the post says. I've read the entire article. There's nothing in there about Benjamin Bratt being recast as Senator Organa. So this might have been a complete like hoax. We will need to wait and see if this is actually true or not. It comes from one source, and that
Yeah.
source was made up, or the information was removed, possibly from the article. So let's just wait and see before we start
Yeah.
spending too much time on it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, and I really hope he is in it, just because Bail Organa is a very pivotal character for the rebellion. He is a huge part of it.
Yep.
Which something I haven't heard, but do you guys think that we'll see Grand Moff Tarkin like we did in Rogue One? Do you think we'll see Leia? Like, do you
I
think
think we'll see Grand Moff Tarkin. That would make sense. Leia, no.
Maybe? No.
I don't think we're going to see Leia.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Honestly, I would have a hard time believing that we're going to see the Rebels crew. I hope we do, but I feel like we're going to be so focused on the characters from, Andor season 1. I don't see them making an appearance.
Yeah,
I hope I'm wrong.
I agree with that. Yeah. No, I think that the characters from Rebels, if they do show up, they will not have like a large role to play. I don't think we'll get one episode where it's like, Hera is playing the ghost and Zeb and Kanan are there. Like, I don't think it's going to be anything like that. I think it would strictly be they are passing through or they end up in a, in like a same briefing as Cassian, and then like Cassian is there and he sees him walk by. Like, that would make sense to me. But I don't see them playing like a pivotal role such as Saw. Because Saw did show up in Star Wars Rebels and he was voiced by Forrest Whitaker. So so I would, I don't think they're gonna play a large role if they do show up. Yeah.
Yeah, quick cameos. I think background actors, I'd be completely fine and happy with that. Just seeing them reference in some shape, way, or form. They don't have to be the focus. I think that would be asking too much.
Can you guys hear me?
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I can hear you clear.
Okay, great. Yeah, my house power just all shut down. Everything just went black.
I know. I told everybody you didn't pay your house bill, your payment, your power bill.
Yeah, there were actually thunderstorms and like a lot of storms in the area while I was in Japan. So I don't know if that had something to do with it, but
I asked people to subscribe to the Patreon. That way you could afford your power bill.
There you go. Thank you.
Please subscribe to the Patreon.
Can we talk about, I guess next week we can probably announce what everybody's doing for Star Wars Day, because I didn't expect a lot to happen in our area, but as I was looking over the weekend, there's actually a few big events happening. So I think we need to pick one and really commit.
Yeah. Zach and I are going to the May 4th concert that they're doing over at the Van Andel Arena. So they will be playing A New Hope, and then they'll like the actual movie, and then they'll have like a live orchestra and band there, like actually like playing when the movie's going on, which is really cool. I have a couple of troops that day. Revenge of the Sith comes out this weekend on Thursday. I know Craig.
Yeah.
I swear, if you didn't get your tickets, I'm
going on Friday. I bought my tickets the day they went on sale.
Good. Okay, good. So
I got great seats. 7:30 show.
If you want to see a masterpiece on the big screen, we probably won't see it again for a very long time. This is the weekend to do it. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be fantastic. I'm gonna I think I'm seeing it 3 times. I'm seeing it 3 times.
Wow.
And then I'll be trooping this weekend as well.
Get it out of your system now before your son is born.
Well, so here's the thing that I didn't get to mention about Celebration. My wife and I already discussed it. That will be Hayden's first celebration. He'll almost be 2. I'm gonna strap him to my chest. We'll be at there, at the convention center having a good time. He'll probably only go 1 day because I know my wife was like, we'll do 1 day, but I'm going to be taking him to Disneyland a lot. I was like, okay, fine. It's totally fine.
Poor baby. He's going to only be 2.
He'll be fine.
So a programming update here before we leave. We're going to do pre-shows before every Andor day, night, whatever, wherever it is you're watching it. So before they air the new episodes, we're going to do a pre-show.
Yep.
We will come back on later
Thursday.
after everyone watches the 3 episodes and have more or less like a discussion, a react type show. But we're going to do another show later on after we've processed everything and digested everything. Right. So we can kind of break it down. Okay. And
so we are doing a post show then.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll come back on.
I'm ready.
If whoever can join, if I have to do it by myself, I'll do it by myself and talk to everyone.
I'll be there with you, David.
All right, sounds good. It's going to be super late. Yeah, I know it's going to be hard on us. We've never done a post show after an hour and a half on average worth of footage. So, but we asked for it. We asked for longer episodes. Not really getting longer episodes per se, but we are getting
this
more.
This is the price we pay.
So yeah, we'll be on as soon as we can after everyone watches the 3 episodes, which should be glorious and great. And people are saying this is all-time Star Wars stuff. So
Join us later.
yeah,
Yep.
I'll bleary eyed. So yeah, hope to see everyone back. We love you guys. And for Ted, Craig, Colin, my name's David, and we will see you in about 1.5 hours.
And if you enjoy Andor, you'll subscribe to our Patreon.
And also, before we go, a Max Rebo reference. Yeah, there you go. Now you can end
3
it.
of them
You're
in this
welcome.
Andor pre-show.
I brought him
Now we're
up.
complete.
I brought him up.
All right,
All right,
thanks
David,
guys for joining.
Let's go.
All right, see you on the other side.
Peace.